in this.
Alright, so a week or so ago, news broke that Robert Whittaker had to pull out of his fight with Jared Cannonier, which I believe was going to be in March, if I'm not mistaken. Is that UFC 247? I'm not sure, maybe 248. It was for personal reasons. They didn't disclose why he had to pull out. It wasn't an injury, and it was a shame when that news got announced. Earlier this week, well, no, actually, let me take a step back. Dana White did an interview with Submission Radio after the Conor McGregor fight, and they asked him about Robert Whittaker, and Dana White said the reason he's pulled out this fight for is a genuine reason, and he is a good-hearted guy, and he's the nicest guy, and blah blah blah. It was just heaping praise on him. And we know what Dana White's like. Usually when fighters pull out of fights and he's not happy about it, he's not always overtly positive or complimentary of the fighter that's pulled out of said fight. On this occasion, he was very different to how he sometimes acts, and he was nothing but positive and complimentary of Robert Whittaker. Earlier this week, I'm not sure who broke this news or where it came from, I just saw it on Twitter. The rumour, and it's just a rumour at this stage because Robert Whittaker hasn't come out and confirmed it, is that he's having some form of procedure and operation to provide bone marrow for his daughter. Now, I was in two minds about making this video, but no one really watches this channel. And the news itself, as in the news itself, is so far spread amongst the online MMA community. If you follow MMA, if you're watching this video, chances are you already have heard this rumor. The reason I'm making this video is sometimes I really hate MMA media, because like I totally understand and respect the need to try and be the first to break a story. I understand the work that goes into a lot of these outlets and the requirement to get traction, views, clicks, blah blah blah. It's a competitive game out there. Before I started doing these videos, I had a website, thebattlecamp.com. I think it still exists. And I used to write articles before I started making videos that no one read. Same as the videos that no one watches. But the point I'm making is, for that little period, I'd spend hours and hours and hours writing something, just an opinion on an event, or a story that's happening in MMA. And I'd get maybe 3 people, 4 people read it off of clicks from Twitter and stuff like that, and it just wasn't worth the hassle and the money I was investing in the website for me to continue doing it, which is why I just decided to just make YouTube videos instead. But I'm coming to my point. The point I'm making is I understand and I respect when an MMA outlet breaks a story about a fight that is in the works, or a fighter that has failed a drugs test, or a contract dispute between a fighter and an MMA organisation, be it the UFC or Bellator or whoever. What I can't get with, what I can't agree with, what for me is a moral issue, is breaking a personal story like this when the man himself hasn't publicly spoken about it. Like, there's so many different connotations and there's so many different things you need to consider when it comes to someone's personal life, especially when, if the rumors are correct, it involves his child. Like, you don't know whether he's even told his family and friends the full extent of if his daughter's not well. You don't know how he's processing this and how he's dealing with this as a man. You don't know how his missus is processing all of this. You don't know the dynamics between what's going on in that family situation. This is a personal issue that he's going through. He's dealing with it in his own way. And by the fact that he hasn't come out and spoken about it, it says to me that he doesn't necessarily want all of this attention on this specific issue. He doesn't necessarily want the whole world talking about the stuff that he's going through, if this is true. Now, I suppose the reason why I was in two minds about making this video is I'm adding to this. Do you know what I mean? Like, how can I on one hand say we shouldn't be talking about it, but then talk about it myself? But I'm not talking about the issue. I'm not giving my opinion on what he's potentially going through. I'm talking about the fact that this story got broken. Like, this story came out in the public domain, and that's what I've got an issue with. Like, the MMA media was born in the internet generation, and I struggle with the lack of morals sometimes in the way different outlets do different things. I don't even know whether they actually properly verified the issue or the story. Did they approach Robert Whittaker and say, look, we found out this information, we're going to go with this story, can we get a comment from you? Or do you know what I mean? Or even run it by him and say, can we publish this? Like, is this, like, do you know what I mean? We don't know the extent of the problems that he's going through right now, and it's just kind of disgusting to me, really. The reason that I decided to put this out there is I was going through YouTube and I saw on my feed, on my main kind of page thing, Jimmy Smith, his channel, he had a video about this story, and he's a man that I respect a lot within MMA media. I didn't watch the video yet, if I'm honest with you. I don't know what his opinion was, I don't know what his take is, but I thought, well, if Jimmy Smith's talking about it, do you know what I mean? But at the same time, I just think that this story shouldn't have been made public knowledge before Robert Whittaker's come out with a statement or come out and said something himself. It just doesn't sit well with me, man. It just doesn't sit well with me. And like, if it is true, like, I just, a lot of love and respect and support goes out to Robert Whittaker from myself. Like, I hope everything works out if all of this is true. And what about if it isn't true? What about if this whole thing is not true? Then what? Do you know what I mean? What if he has pulled out and it's got nothing to do with his daughter and nothing to do with an operation, and it's just something completely different? Then what? Anyway, that's just my thoughts on this whole situation, man. Like, whoever broke this, whoever published the first story or the first tweet or whatever, shame on you. It's a very old-fashioned way of putting things, but definitely shame on you, man. Like, you're putting your own personal kind of success, your own personal visibility online above a man that might potentially be going through a real life struggle, and that's just disgusting, in my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think, man. Put your comments below. Don't be scared to hit the like, share button. There isn't a share button, but share it with a friend if you've enjoyed it and whatnot. Oh, it looks like I'm going to be late for work because I think there's an accident up ahead. Anyway, I'll catch you guys next time.